Welcome to the show. My name is Mark Lambert. I'm the Chief Product Officer here at ArmorCode, and this is a really special show. So, as you know, we rebranded the podcast at the beginning of the year from Let's Talk AppSecOps to Let's Talk Software Security. However, as part of that, I discovered a community out there, and I actually discovered it through one of our good friends, Dustin. And it's made me really happy because I've got to meet these great folks that have a great community, and we're going to talk about community today. But what does that mean for the name of this show? Well, we don't want to have a conflict, it's the same flipping name. So let's go ahead and change the name. Let's talk about application security posture management. This is obviously our key focus here at ArmorCode, and it makes a lot of sense. We view that application security posture management really encompasses everything around the application, from code through to infrastructure, whether that's cloud or hybrid or just purely data center centric. But that'll be part of another podcast. We'll go into that in more detail later. Today, we want to talk about community and the power of the community and how we can work together to really affect change and really share experiences. So for that, I'm super excited to join and have the team from the Let's Talk Software Security community join us today. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll hand over first to Amanda. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, talk us to us about the community, and then let's introduce the rest of the folks that we have here today.
Thanks, Mark. So we are an inclusive community who are passionate about learning and maturing the software security habits of our organizations. And we collaborate through a virtual open discussion every month for about 2 hours. And we like to challenge each other and the status quo while supporting our personal growth of our members. And it's an amazing space to be in because we get so many fresh perspectives from all different types of backgrounds. My favorite thing is that it helps us, me personally too, to better ourselves and how to apply what we've learned to our organizations and just in our professional careers, which is great. And I am so thrilled that we have so many different topics to talk about every single month. It feels like we never have enough time, but it's a fun space to hang out and learn from so many different people. Dustin?
Yeah, hey everyone. Excited to be here, by the way, Mark. Love these kinds of discussions. So Amanda hit on a lot of good points. I think one of the things that we observed out there in the world is there's a lot of presentations happening, webinars, and that sort of stuff where it's really centered around like a single or a few speakers presenting content that has been sort of predetermined and designed. And we wanted to really create an opportunity for open discussion, having other people, the audience essentially jumping in and sharing their opinion. No matter their experience or background, we welcome all of it. And we just kind of noticed that there's not enough of that in the world. So we created this community just for that. And it's a blast. Like Amanda said, we typically have 2-hour sessions every month. It seems like not long enough. Frankly, our discussions go all the way at the end with more people excited and more things to say. So we've been fortunate to have such a great community that we've built with this thing. It's been running for almost 3 years at this point, and it's grown and it's just been a blast.
Yeah, definitely echo both Amanda and Dustin's sentiment, and thank you, Mark, for having us on. We're really excited to talk about Let's Talk Software Security community that we're a part of as well. And just to really emphasize, this is a global and virtual community of those who are not just security professionals, but those who are interested in security, in securing software, in advancing the software security practices and programs in their organizations, or just curious to learn about the topic or contribute, right? And to teach. And it's the passion that you can really feel and notice. It is a community where we followed Chatham House rules so that we enable a lot of the psychological safety factors that can sometimes hold us back in sharing questions, thinking out loud, sharing our opinions, asking things that may not be popular opinion or with a popular opinion in the space, to really make us think and question, wait, is this something that we're doing because that's how we've always done things? or is there something better that we can be doing? So when we think about this as Amanda kind of highlighted as an inclusive community, that is really important to us to maintain and to make sure that everybody's voice is heard. And we're coming at it from a level playing field. It doesn't matter who you work for, what your title is, how much experience you have. You just have to have interest in the area.
Yeah, it's actually, I mean, I really enjoyed the meetup because it's like Dustin, you said it really was like or maybe it was Amanda, it's like you come from a world where there's webinars, you go to a conference, there's a presentation, and there's a structured format, and the discussion, just the community peer-based discussion format where we're trying to just share our experiences. And Ruchira, when you said about kind of like almost like honest, almost like an honest and frank discussion. I mean, the one that the recent one that I attended was, we were talking about, well, is OWASP actually relevant, right? And it's really, that discussion is what drives education and awareness, learning from people, building your network, which is really important because, look, we're all kind of like trying to progress our careers, but also we're all looking for advice and being able to build that network as well. What would you say that, what type of people join this community? What kind of roles are there? And what do they look to get out of this? I know it's very diverse, but I don't know who wants to take that question.
Yeah, I'll actually take that. So kind of going on the only criteria, and even that, right? If you're curious, curiosity essentially, right, is what attracts a lot of our members to the discussions and to the community itself. So we have students, we have professionals that don't even work anywhere close to a tech field. We have developers, we have senior leaders, and not just in the security space. We have security professionals. We're also very vendor friendly, where we want everyone to be part of the conversation in bringing their perspectives, right? So again, kind of the basics of who join and who are attracted to these events that we have, and also to continue the conversation. And like you said, building the network are those that really are also globally based, is something that I really want to emphasize here. We're not location specific, and having this as a virtual community is something that we've discussed and really decided to embrace, because it does allow a diverse set of opinions and thoughts, and also those that want to participate, making that a forum they're able to do so in.
Yeah, that global community can like really hit home for me when I've participated, because it's like, yeah, you have folks from Europe that have slightly different regulations than we do here in the US, so can like a slightly different perspective. That vendor inclusiveness is look, at the end of the day, right, vendors have experience as well, and we're in a very unique situation, is that we see a lot of different things, a lot of different companies, a lot of things that work and a lot of things that don't. We're not as down into the details, but being able to give hey, this kind of thing over here we've seen work, and sharing that, I think, is really valuable. And it's a great thing about your community being kind of like just completely inclusive. Also kind of, I think it was a number of folks on the last one, which were, yes, I'm looking to transition into this space, or I'm looking to just get more knowledgeable so that I can grow my own experiences and my own relevance. I think that's great. How do you see the community working to help deliver? What have kind of been some of those positive outcomes, or the discussions that you've seen being really very vibrant, either massively attended or just great deep conversations? I don't know, maybe Amanda or Dustin, you want to kind of dig into that?
Yeah, I could take this one. I think one of my favorite things about what we do in our group is we first start to try to define what we're even talking about, making sure everyone is on the same page of understanding, so that we can really foster healthy conversations about what we're all trying to learn for a particular topic. And I think one of my favorite ones is when we all tap into everyone's mindsets of, hey, what are your thoughts? How would you define something? And my favorite one is something we did recently, which was let's just define our AppSec terms. And as soon as we started, we realized there are so many acronyms in this space. There are so many different interpretations of different definitions, and partly why we're starting to have these discussions on, do we need these terms? Are we understanding what these terms are applying for? And how can we walk away with a shared understanding of what these terms mean so that we can then communicate more with our peers, with our other practitioners in this space, as well as take some of these learnings into our own AppSec programs, because language is so difficult in this space. We talk about, how do we message the problems and how you solve for them, and how can you solve for those communications if you're not understanding the different terms that make up those different capabilities. So I think being able to really collaborate with the community and tap into so many different perspectives really highlights just the need for more collaboration and more communication with people in the space. And I think having a group that does talk about software security so openly, and like Ruchira said, creating that safe space to communicate, hey, these are the things that I'm dealing with, and allowing people to feel vulnerable in a safe space and talk about their experiences allows other people to take inspiration and also make leaps and also ask questions in a space that they may not be familiar in.
Yeah, and I think that definition piece, it really strikes home when you ask somebody, hey, what's a vulnerability, a threat, and and a weakness, and it's like, and what the difference is. People, it's amazing that the definitions are not consistent. Some people talking doing more academic based, some people more practical, or some people just kind of like how they've internally started using the terms. But I think that's a really important point. It's level setting as like, hey, what are we talking about? And let's recognize that there's that ambiguity, within the industry. And also I've seen it actually within individual organizations as well. And you talked about the safety of it's a safe space. And actually I just realized as you were talking there, we mentioned Chatham House rules at the earlier. Could you explain what that is? Because I don't know that everybody will understand what Chatham House rules are.
Yeah, I'll take that one. Yeah, so officially Chatham House rules essentially means that you may take the information that folks share with you and use it and apply it, but you may not say who it came from, essentially. So it's a way to protect the privacy of the attendees, but also not, sort of misquote them or say, hey, Mark told me that this was okay, or some CISO at a company mentioned this. We don't want people to sort of get in trouble with sort of what is said or quoted. So it's all about creating that privacy, which again allows people to speak more freely. The other thing that we do, and I get asked this all the time, darn, I missed the session. Did you record it? And the answer is no, always. We do not record sessions. Again, for two reasons. One, to protect your privacy. And two, because I think it encourages people to speak more freely when there's not that red light staring at you and you realize, oh no, every word I'm saying is being recorded. So that has a great effect, I think, on just allowing people to feel comfortable and open.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And we're in this world these days where everything is recorded, like this session right now. But you have to recognize that if you want to have frank and honest sharing of information, you have to have that safe space, and you can't have people who are totally anonymous listening in. You're like, no, I kind of need to know who this community is. And that's the other thing that I love is the quick round robin of, hey, everybody that's there, let's introduce ourselves. That's kind of like, because it's how you build that personal relationship and an active participation rather than just kind of like passive participation, which is also valid. If somebody's nervous and they don't want to speak up, but kind of like the more you speak up, the more you engage, the more you're going to get out of it as well, which I think is really, really important. Kelly, and you all just started this kind of like in our post-COVID or mid-COVID world, right? I mean, that's so everybody's somewhat used to Zoom. Do you ever do anything like this in person, or is it really 100% focused on through the Meetup platform?
Yeah, Ruchira spoke to this before, but it's really about inclusiveness, what we're trying to do with this meetup, which means global, virtual, all the time. And that focus on inclusiveness really causes us to not be able to host more local events because frankly, that would be more specific for the people who are in the area, right?
Yeah.
So we have, and we've talked about this a lot, like, should we all, I don't know, host some local in-person thing? And we're like, no, because then certain people could participate and certain people couldn't. And we don't really like that idea. So we're basically global, virtual all the time.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
I'd say there's also, yeah, sorry, Mark. There's also this kind of FOMO element that we notice a lot. So like Dustin was mentioning earlier, a lot of members who may have scheduling conflicts or are traveling will reach out every time. We will always have someone ask, will you record this? Do you record this? Like I'm really I want to be a part of this conversation. I want to listen in, which is fantastic in the sentiment of kind of saying, yes, you know what, these discussions are things that are of value, I would say, to those who are attending and actually contributing, which is fantastic, right? And I think the part about in person, just kind of building the relationships and familiarity and kind of having that common interest allows us, as we are in organic situations like conferences, and Dustin and Amanda can attest to that for a more recent example that they experienced of, oh my gosh, hi, like good to see you in person, and kind of having that that baseline to go off of and having that excitement, I would say enables us when we do see each other. We are, if we are in the same kind of area of business. And from that as well, like we do support one another. So I was mentioning earlier about anyone coming in as a student or curious, you know, someone intros themselves as, hey, you know what, I'm just a student, I'm not an expert. You know, a lot of community members will jump in on Slack, and as they're doing their intros to be like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. Feel free to reach out, and they'll like, I'll reach out to you and answer any questions you may have, to really help people feel welcome and not apprehensive or have that intimidation factor. So those are some of the nuances we pick up a lot that make us so proud and happy to be part of this community ourselves.
Yeah. And actually, I'm glad you brought up Slack, because that was actually the next thing I was going to ask about, was there's obviously, you know, during the session, there's the live Slack as well. Is that a good way for our folks to engage outside of the meetups as well, or are you predominantly just using that for just during the meetup that's going on this live?
Oh, absolutely. We always encourage everyone to take their time to join the Slack channel, whether it's to ask during the event, and there's always a ton of chatter that happens. We have such a interactive session that we have people verbally communicating, as well as using the Slack channel as a means to continue other threads of topics that they're interested in pursuing, or asking questions that they didn't want to interrupt the current thread, but still wanted to kind of get their thoughts rolling while multiple conversations are happening at the same time, which is really great. And so one, thank you to our co-hosts, because it takes a team to really moderate this in a way that keeps things fluid. And the Slack channel is a really great place for people to ask questions, to get feedback, to get pointers on, you know, different tools they've tried, or different practices that may have worked well or may not have worked well, or even just looking for guidance as they're learning about the field. Like we have tons of students reaching out saying, hey, I'm working on a research project, can I get pointers here? Or I'm looking for a mentor, or I'm looking for a new job. Like we're really collaborative in that space to have continuous conversations, because the conversation doesn't just end as soon as we reach our 2-hour mark. There's always more to be discussed, and oftentimes people will continue talking even after the chat to finish different conversations that are happening. And Slack is a really great way to preserve different resources that are shared, because once the Zoom call ends, that's it. The links that were shared or any messages that were there, that leaves with that conversation. But with Slack, we can continuously search or collaborate on different threads without the need for a Zoom meeting.
Yeah. I'd just say Slack and WhatsApp have become kind of like the two de facto ways that we kind of try to build that organic traction within in the community as a whole. And how do you come up with the topics, right? Because you got this cadence, which is it's a and you said earlier, I think you got a backlog of things to talk about. How do you figure out what's the right thing that the community needs to focus on? You're on yeah. How do you come up with that?
Yeah, there's a one. It's based off of the trend of our conversations at the moment. So if we have a meetup and there are a couple of topics that are coming up frequently, but not the main theme of that topic or event, we will kind of add that to the backlog. And sometimes we'll poll the community, ask for their take on what they would like to hear come up next. We also pay attention to industry trends and figure out, like, is there something that we need to key in on as a community so that we can either get ahead of some of the new changes coming up, or just bringing awareness and more educational conversations around different trends that are up and coming. So like AI, that was a big buzzword of last year. That was a really major topic. Scaling threat modeling, is that possible? And really having thought-provoking conversations on, some of these topics that have been around for a while, but really getting fresh perspectives on, are they actually working? What's not working? And what can we do better as a whole to keep moving our programs forward? Because that's really what we're aiming to do.
Yeah, and you've got a topic that's coming up that's obviously really near and dear to my heart, right? In an upcoming session, which is all around application security posture management, which is obviously relevant. And I think the way that you've come at it is really, really the solid. I have to look to the side.
Oh, you went on mute, Mark.
Thank you. Sorry, I clicked the wrong mouse button. Okay, so yeah, you've got an upcoming session which is really good around application security posture management, which of course is relevant to our narrative and our conversation. And the session title I think is really interesting in how you're looking at it, right? Application security posture management, rebound or revolution. And I think that's a perfect conversation to have as a community, because my personal view around ASPM is we've been trying to do this as an industry for several years now, and as a community or as an industry we can get behind a term to kind of like type to talk about it more consistently. But it is something which is driving, the DevSecOps initiative and deploying to cloud and what have you, is just colliding application security and vulnerability management together in my mind. And what drove the topic for that session? Is it similar things to what I'm saying? Is it you seeing something different? What kind of drove that topic?
Yeah, I think it kind of reinforces what Amanda was saying in terms of how we go about choosing the topics for our sessions. We've seen a lot of chatter about this ASPM thing in the industry on LinkedIn and otherwise. Lots of webinars and stuff that are dedicated to it. And, in our group, we do try to sort of challenge the status quo and challenge the ideas that are out there. And that's kind of where this title came about, right? Is it actually a new thing, or is it just sort of a rebrand on existing concepts? And I love the idea of getting people from the industry's take on that. Like, I think it's going to be a very beneficial talk. This is at the end of March, so just coming up in a few weeks. But I think it's going to be a really beneficial talk for both vendors who have ASPM products, maybe vendors who don't and are wondering, what is this? And is this something they should get on board with, or is this competitive with them? And then how, like, practitioners and folks that are building programs and so forth, how they see it and what it means to them. I think it's going to be really eye-opening for everyone. And just a quick note too, that typically we like to put topics like this that challenge folks a little bit more out there. It's not ASPM as the title or threat modeling as the title. We use titles like, can you automate threat modeling effectively, right? Like that sort of thing, to really kind of draw out like an opinion, right? So when people, what we're hoping is when people read the title that's coming up, then they automatically sort of think about what their opinion is. And then hopefully it creates enough curiosity that people show up and want to share that opinion is the idea. So, and I think this title, which it was Amanda that came up with this one. And I think it perfectly outlines kind of the way that we want to approach this topic.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the discussion, because it's like it is also an opening with the definitions like you do, Amanda, is going to be spot on, because the definition is definitely, you know, dependent upon who's using the words, right? You know, I've heard everything from ASOC 2.0, so application security orchestration correlation, all the way through to, oh, it's just application security tools with a dashboard. So yeah, everything in between. So I'm really looking forward to the conversation. And believe you, I will share my opinion. So, and actually, I should point out, we've got the links to both the meetup. We also have a link to that event in the show notes as well. So, you know, I definitely want to make sure, hey, go ahead and check it out. You know, it as we've been discussing, community is really, really important for us to move the industry forward collectively. You know, we're all kind of like doing this, you know, to help make things better, right? So let's work together, build the hive mind, so to speak, and kind of like learn from each other, so we don't all make the same mistakes. So, you know, with that being said, I think we're kind of like getting towards the end of the session, so I'll just turn it back to the team. Anything else that you all would like to close us out with?
I mean, I love what you just said in terms of working together and building community. I think one of the things that I have always just loved about cybersecurity in general is there's so much information sharing. It very much feels like, you know, it's all of us trying to work together to defend our companies, right? It's us versus the bad guys. And that's sort of the mindset that I really enjoy. And I think it makes us allow ourselves to speak more freely about these types of things than you find in other industries. You know, I think there's a lot of more hesitation to speak openly about a lot of things because that might be some sort of a competitive advantage, or, you know, they're giving away their trade secrets, you know, that kind of stuff. But it doesn't seem like that so much in cybersecurity. And I just love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Amanda, anything else you'd like to close us out with?
Yeah, plus one to what Dustin said and what you were saying earlier about the sense of community and working better together. I think having this space has improved my career, both professionally and personally, because it helps validate that, you know, I'm not just alone in dealing with these different cybersecurity challenges. There are like hundreds of other people out there who are also experiencing different challenges in their own situations. But being able to come together and openly talk about, you know, what we do is hard. But what is great is having like-minded folks who are also passionate about the space and want to learn new ideas or share things that have worked, or just share resources to better everyone's understanding about different perspectives in the cybersecurity space. So I'm so excited for our upcoming talk on ASPM and more to come.
Beautiful. Ruchira?
Yeah, echoing both what Amanda and Dustin said, you know, personally, this community, it means a lot. And having that support, but also challenging one another and getting different perspectives is a lot of fun. You can definitely tell that those that participate, those that attend, that spend, you know, 2 hours is a lot during a day for us to dedicate, and for us all to feel like, oh my gosh, how did that fly by so quickly? You know, is definitely a testament to the engaging conversations we have, which are very thought-provoking, and something that we really try to be mindful of as moderators of these sessions is if we all at some point start saying the same thing and saying, yeah, that's how it works. Yes, agree. That's I would say a point that we take note of and ask an opposing question, just so that, you know, we are thinking broadly and we are taking different perspectives or maybe a potential of a different approach or perspective into account as well, which makes these discussions so much fun. So again, kind of reemphasizing that we're not looking for that expert opinion or a group of thought leaders to talk at us, and we're here to consume if we don't feel like we're thought leaders in a specific topic. But we all have a voice, and we can all ask questions, and we can all lean on one another. So that supportive nature of the community is what's, I would say, most kind of near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, I really thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, and again, enjoyed the session that I was able to attend just last month, and looking forward to the one later this month. So, with that being said, as I said, in the show notes are how you can get involved in the Let's Talk Software Security community. As always, click like, subscribe. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll go further into more topics around application security, posture management, and everything else within our whole software security ecosystem and beyond. So thanks very much, team. Really appreciate it. Thanks again. Thanks everybody for watching. Take care, be safe, and see you on the next episode.